In this video, I'll be showing you how to draw up your medicine and how to take your medicine accurately and safely. So I put down some paper towels first, and I put them in this shape so it keeps things a little bit more sterile. And I use these Curad prep wipes, which are alcohol wipes. I usually get 3 out. That way I have 1 for the bottle and 2 for myself. And I'll show you more about that later. There's 3. And that's my vial with my medicine. And these are the type of syringes I use. They're the 31 gauge 5/16 inch. And I find that these ones are not very painful, and these ones I get off of Amazon. So I get one of those out. And of course, again, I've washed my hands thoroughly. Take the cap off my bottle, and before I use my vial, I sanitize the top, because anything that you could touch that could touch the needle, that could go in your skin, you want to be extra safe and extra sure that you've sanitized. I even sanitize the bottle because I'm touching it. And I sanitize my fingers again, just to be safe. And that's the end you want to take off first. That's for the plunger. And sometimes I sanitize that too. I just sanitize the heck out of everything. Then I take off the top, which obviously has the needle end, the pointy end. And I like to draw up some air and go back and forth a little bit with the plunger, because sometimes the plungers can kind of stick. So by doing that, it loosens them up. I draw up the amount of air that's equal to the amount of milligrams that I'll be taking. This way, when I push the air in the vial, it'll equal what I'm displacing of the liquid. So if you look at the top, there's a little circle, and you want to make sure that you put the needle in the middle of the circle. If not, it could bend the needle. And go very slow with this and take your time. Then push the air into the vial before you turn it over. Otherwise, you could push air bubbles into the liquid and make it harder to get an accurate dose in your syringe. So then I very slowly draw up the amount of medicine that I take. Now, sometimes before I do that, I make sure to put an extra push before I pull the plunger, and sometimes that helps reduce the amount of air bubbles I get. So when I get the amount, I'm going to turn it back over before I take my syringe out. And take your time so you make sure that you have your correct dose. A lot of people, they just hurry this up and they're not paying attention, and you don't want to do that. So take the syringe out after you flip it over so liquid doesn't come out of the vial when you pull out your syringe. Next, we're going to cap our syringe. So make sure you have the right end, because sometimes it's confusing. I know it sounds like it'd be easy, but I don't know how many times I've put the blunt end and messed up the needle. So make sure you have the right end and cap your syringe. And then, of course, sanitize everything all over again, including the top of your vial, before you put on the cap. I'm going to put the medicine back in the refrigerator, but I'm going to let the medicine that I just drew up sit out for about 30 minutes, because when it's not cold, it stings less. So now, before we do the injection, make sure you have your alcohol pads, your syringe, obviously, and I'm also going to show you how to use the auto injector pen. And for people who are prone to fainting, like myself, I always like to get a little cup of juice, not too much because you don't want to mess up your blood sugar, obviously. And if you do have blood sugar issues, have something else that doesn't have sugar, I guess. But something that you can drink like right after your injection, it kind of gets your mind off of what's going on. And I also have a Ricola or a cough drop that you have. You can get that sugar-free, but the menthol kind of wakes you up if you start to feel like you're gonna faint. And sorry, I'm winded. I came up the stairs. And a Band-Aid for funsies, just to make things a little less scary. And I always take a half of a Benadryl. I don't really have much of a reaction to the injections, but some people do. And I take a half a Benadryl just in case. And I especially do this if, say, I'm going from compounded to name brand or different pharmacies of compound, just as a precautionary measure. Oh, and it's also good to have some hand sani too. Okay, let's do this. So I use the Shotzi app. It's an app that tracks like where I do my shots, and this is a subcutaneous shot, so you're only supposed to inject in certain places, obviously not into a vein. It's supposed to be basically like your fat. And the best place I've found, like with the least amount of pain, is around the belly button. But you can also do a thigh. That's a popular spot. If you go online, if you go on like the Eli Lilly website and you go online, you can see where the injection, like the okay areas are for your injection. But right now, today, my injection is going to be in the top, what is that? My right top above the belly button area. So I'm going to prepare, ooh, excuse me. I'm going to use my wipe. And I'm going to, I'm going to wipe off the area that I want to inject in. And I do this sitting down because when I sit down, it kind of gives me a more of a roll. And the more of a roll you have, the better it is, because then you have more subcutaneous tissue to inject in. So I'm going to let that dry. If you let the area where the alcohol was dry, there will be less of a chance for you to get a sting from the alcohol. Okay, so you're going to grab your chub, and I always just like to triple check and make sure I had the right milligrams. So you pinch the chubs, make sure the alcohol wipe is dry, and I kind of, sometimes I wimp out and I'm like, oh boy. But above the navel I found is like the least painful. You would think it'd be more painful, but it's the least. So let's party. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, see, I wimped out. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, wait, one more thing. So you're supposed to do it at a like 45-degree angle, but I'm not good at doing that. So I just kind of go and go. Do that. Actually, that didn't hurt at all. I didn't even feel it, guys. And I go really, 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 really slow. Really effing slow. And if I start to get some resistance, I kind of let go of the chub. Okay, and I make sure it's all in there, and then I take this out. I cap this bad boy immediately because you don't want pointy things to stab people. I get my alcohol wipe. Actually, you know what? I usually get a new alcohol wipe because better safe than sorry. Anyway, but see, now I don't even know where I injected because that needle's so small. Like, it's not like the pain, it's just like the thought of something going into my body that sometimes weirds me out. Like, if any of you are fainters, I'm gonna let that dry. Y'all, I don't know where I don't know where I injected that. I think here, maybe? Or was it here? Well, anyway. I don't know where hello? Well, now I don't know where to put the Band-Aid. So, well, anyway, if if you do have a little bit of blood or you get fainty, you can put a Band-Aid over it. I'm not going to, just because I don't know where I injected. I think it's here or here, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm not going to use a Band-Aid right now. But you can if you want to. I think the main thing is just to make sure you clean the area off and it's not exposed to anything dirty. And this is a clean onesie. Okay, so if you have one of these, what you'll do is you'll take off the protective cap here. And if you look, there we go. There's a needle inside. Don't know if you can see it, but there's a needle inside. And what you'll do is you'll put it on, and I'm going to demonstrate on here, because even though it's locked, I still don't want, anything to happen because I just did my injection. So let's say this is your stomach or your thigh. You're going to pinch it like we did with my injection. And you'll unlock. See at the top there's a lock and unlock. You'll unlock, it'll click. You'll put this on your thigh or wherever you're doing your injection, your stomach. And there's going to be a purple button here. You're going to press the purple button and it's going to go poop. And you're going to have to be firm because it kind of has like a pressure to it from the spring. And you're going to hold it down. It's going to make a click when it goes down. And then it's going to take a few seconds for it to put the medicine in. And then it's going to go click and then it'll retract. Now don't lift it off of yourself until you hear that second click. Then when you hear that second click, that means the medicine's in and then you can release. And then same thing, you'll just wipe off the area with the Sani, etc. Now, if you'll excuse me, cheers. I'm going to have my juice. Appley. All right, so that's how you do your injection. So that's all. And let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.